knew it was gonna be a banger, guys. I mean, I told you what we were gonna have, but I did not know it was gonna be this good. This is exceptional. We're listening to literally, I mean, you could charge hundreds of thousands of dollars for what we're getting on this episode. Jody, you've broken it down so simple. And I have a better understanding and a better love now for this yoga because it's transformed the person individual that we see today. It doesn't have to be, guys, it doesn't have to be yoga. I'm not saying go run out and become part of the yoga community. But if you listen to Jody, what she's saying is she's moved her body. She's put herself in a mental state that allows her to handle the day-to-days. Before this, you have one of the hardest jobs in the world, obviously, stay-at-home mom. Listen, stay-at-home moms are no joke, people. I'm telling you right now, stay-at-home moms, it is the hardest job in the world, bar none.
Amen.
Because you are responsible for when they come back. When those kids come back from being out in the outside world, listen to all kinds of negative crap. Look, when they're in elementary, it's kind of easy. Soon as they hit junior high, whole new ball game. They go to high school. You're just like, please, listen, you're like, please, Lord, protect my kid. Protect them from not seeing crap. Because that seeing or hearing or developing crappy attitudes. Right now, I have 4 kids that are in high school, right? A senior, junior, and two that are sophomores. And then I have a little 6th grade. And the emotions that you can't control as a parent, the emotions of other kids that go to school because they come from all walks of life, different backgrounds, different. Jody's example, right? Her parents got divorced when she was in junior high. 12 years old, mom and dad gone. It's like my whole world is shattered. Your kids go into the world and that's what they're facing. When they come home, the first person is they see his mom, and unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to look at it, fortunately, moms then are able to temper the weather of the storm that walks through that door. Mm-hmm. The emotional roller coaster, the highs, the lows. If you have kids that are extrovert, perfect. Right? I'll tell you, this is what happened. If you have introverts, right to the room, they're sitting down. Hey, how was your date? Good. Everything okay? Yep. And you know full well it's going to be Fort Knox getting something out of there. What Jody is now saying is she's now building this practice, this lifestyle. She told you she hangs up a sign outside her door. Meditation. Kids, no, don't bother. She's becoming better. So then she can help me become better. Yeah. Helping to breathe. She probably teaches your kids how to breathe. She's doing that because I know mom's helping me become better to just learn how to breathe. These are tools and techniques that she's sharing with us and saying, look, little things that you can do to help your kids face this world. And even if you don't have kids, it's little things you can do to become better every single day. Mm-hmm. Good night. The beauty of this is I get to go and listen to this before it even gets posted. So a head step in life. Gosh, dang it. Let me ask you this. What's a compliment or two that your kids have said over the years that have really impacted you because you took that step, that very hard step of saying, I am going to beat anxiety. I'm going to beat this disease. I'm going to beat this mental illness. Have they shared anything with you? And also the follow-up to that is, what has your husband said to you now that they see the new Jody, the new mom, the new wife, this new powerful CEO woman? What have they said to you now that you're like, it was all worth it?
Yeah, it's sweet. My kids, so they're 11, 13, and almost 16. And they will say, Mom, you're really strong. Mom, you're really strong. You take care of us, and you take care of the house, and you take care of Dad and the dogs, and you do this and this and this and this. And it feels great that they notice that, right? Because you feel like as a stay-at-home mom, so much of what you do goes unnoticed. But to hear them call me strong is wonderful, because there were so many years I didn't feel that way. And I didn't feel like I would even be able, how was I going to take care of all these kids if I wasn't feeling good? And how was I going to show up as my best self every day. And so to hear them view me that way feels great, feels great, and feels great that they know that I am, they see books that are lying around that I'm reading, and they see this lifestyle that I'm cultivating for myself. And so whether or not they're implementing it in their daily habits, they're young, but it's there, right? It's there for them to pick up on, to notice, to ask me a question about. My husband, and you had said something earlier in the interview about, he's trying to, like, how does he help me? What does he solve? What stress does he remove? He is the opposite. He's not an anxious person. He didn't even really understand what that meant. And so for us early on in our marriage, really having to educate him on what that meant when I said I was feeling anxious and how he could best support me. And it's funny, today he would probably say he's a glass half empty type of person, and I'm a glass half full type of person. And we talk about this, we debate about this a lot. And he says, well, I am, but I prefer to call it a realist. And like, well, I don't know, I guess you could call it that. But,
Yep.
he often says, I wish I was like that. I wish I was as positive as you are. And, I wish that, he's always like, thank you for being my cheerleader, because my instinct is to cheer someone up or to remind them of how wonderful things are, or what they have in their lives. And so I do that a lot with him. If he's complaining about a bad day or at work or something, I'm like, oh, but at least you have a job, at least you have, so it's just that constant reminder. But I think he'll, I hope I've influenced him to kind of look at things on the brighter side. And I can tell, especially in the last few years, that he is working on that and kind of shifting that perspective a little bit, because I think he sees the benefits of it and what it's done for me. And so, like anything, when you see that and you witness it, you kind of want a taste of it and to give it a try. So,
Oh, God night, people. We won't stop because we can't, because I have too much. We have so much to unpack and cover still. And, but we want to be respectful of Jody's time. So we're going to push through, but I just want to say this point because she hit it straight on, guys. Listen, there's nothing wrong with identifying this is where I'm at. You got to start somewhere. We have to start somewhere. And even if you can't, sometimes the best thing you can do is just opening your eyes. And if you can't even do that, just close your eyes and hum. Because by goodness, we've all been there. We've all been at a point in our lives where we're just like, I can't do it. Today is, I see those shirts, right, that says, I can't adult today.
Yeah.
I love those shirts, but there's so much more impactful behind that. I think it's, what you've said thus far. I mean, guys, if you need to pause and take a break and go run around and scream and be like, I love, go do it. Cause this is awesome. Awesome. All right.
I'm good.
I have to get to this because this is the craziest part, right? Up to this point, not the craziest. This is just adding to the crazy. You went out and bought three, not one, but three yoga licenses. Then the world stopped because of the quote unquote pandemic.
Yeah.
Your husband's business was doing okay. We'll get into that in a second. What in the world were you thinking? Obviously, you can predict what happened.
Yeah.
But what were you thinking when we just bought these licenses and then bam, it all just stopped?
Yeah. So we opened our first studio in January of 2020. Closed in March of 2020 for COVID, and then reopened later that summer. So speaking of like really digging deep and counting your blessings, it has been very, very difficult. The world shut down at a time when we were opening a business and had financially invested in this business. And aside from that, I think I've always, I believe so strongly in the practice of yoga. So I have never doubted that it would be everything it is supposed to be. But there are outside factors like a pandemic that you simply cannot control. So it has been a true test of really faith and determination and remaining positive that eventually the world will get back to some sort of norm, and that we're here for it, right? And that, you know, as difficult as it has been keeping a business open, during a pandemic, in short, I believe in it. I believe in the power of yoga. I believe in the community sense of it all. And I believe now more than ever, we need it. So, you know, it is not a fad. It's not a trendy workout. It has been around for thousands and thousands of years. And it's not going anywhere. It's not going out of style. You know, it's more than ever giving people above and beyond what they need in their lives right now. And so I believe in that. And, you know, we have put studios number 2 and 3 on hold. We didn't anticipate doing that, but, you know, we got set back because of this pandemic. And I'm not giving up hope. I have an incredible general manager that operates the studio on a daily basis, and we're in touch every day. And we just keep going back to the community and what we're hearing from our members and the students. And that gives me enough reason to keep going. You know, if I'm talking with a student one day or a member who tells me how much and in what way this yoga studio has changed their life, I'm like, this is why I keep pushing for it. This is the why behind it. You know, if we can change one life, that's incredible. But to hear these people who, for all different reasons, you know, someone was going through a divorce and it saved her, and someone's doctor told her she needed to lose 100 pounds and she did it by coming to our studio, and someone else been working from home since COVID, and the only time she gets out and sees anyone is at YogaSix. So that's her community. I mean, that is exactly what I wanted to create from the beginning, and we're doing it. And we're not doing it as fast as a pace as I would have anticipated pre-COVID, but we're still doing it. And I will not give up faith at all. Like, I know that the studio will get to where we need it to be. And I know that as people branch out, coming back to real life and normal life, whatever that looks like for them, you know, we're here for them already.
Oh my gosh, man. Those stories, just listening to that story of people telling you, it's life changing.
Yeah.
When your passion is so big, it helps other people's why become just as big. It becomes so infectious. And just that one glimmer of hope of this, we can't stop. If we stop, then all of these people would have never have been able to change their lives.
Right.
We could not impact people. Oh, but okay, so I'm gonna be the devil's advocate. I mean, your husband had his business. I mean, you guys must have been rolling in cash because he had. When you think, oh, I have my business. Oh, yeah, you guys must be doing great, easily doing great, right? Because that's what it was, right? Your business, your husband's business was just crushing it. This is kind of like a part-time gig for you, or something that kind of gets you out of the house, or was that really the case?
So he had his normal job, right? Normal career. And this was kind of going to be my little pet project, is how we initially thought of it. You know, he is not a yogi. He has been to 2 yoga classes his entire life, but he knew that I would run with it and that I was passionate about it, and he would support that and support it financially. Um, and I think he sees my enthusiasm. He still does with it. Fast forward a year later, after we opened the studio, he was laid off from his job. So here we have a new yoga studio that is struggling during COVID. My husband's real job has now been laid off. And he's at home and he's looking for a new job. And it was an extremely stressful time, right? Like, his real life job wasn't stable anymore. We still are supporting this new business financially and working on that and trying to get it where it needs to be. And that was probably one of the most difficult times, I think, for both of us. So many unknowns. And my husband had been at his job for 15 years and had really worked his way up there. And thankfully got another job and is happy there and doing great. But it really has really forced me to remember this yoga off the mat during all of this, right? Like there's so much that's not in my control. And what I can do is still keep pushing and evolving and spreading the things that I've learned in hopes that we will reach the people who really need it in their lives and are looking for that sort of tool for their toolbox, and keep pushing forward. We don't have any other choice, you know? And so a lot of during that time, I was that cheerleader and, you know, saying to my husband, like, but at least you can get another job. At least we do still have this yoga studio. At least, you know, we do still have a roof over our heads. Like we are in a fortunate position. Yes, this has happened and this is difficult, but look at everything we have. Our kids are healthy. We're healthy, you know, so just that reminder. And I always feel like things happen for a reason. You know, we're just little pieces in this big universe. And I do believe that there is a bigger plan out there and a bigger story behind the why. And so I just have faith in that. I always have faith in that, and it never wavers. And I don't know why. And I feel fortunate that that doesn't waver. But I always have this feeling that things will just work out, and they do. And I think a lot of that is just my mindset. You know, I really do think the power of our thoughts is pretty intense, and how things manifest. And your thoughts, you know, you be careful with them, because I do think you manifest the things that you think a lot about. And if those are negative thoughts, you're kind of projecting that out there. And keep reminding yourself, you know, what is it I want? Like focus on the things you want. Think about the things that you want. Write it down. You know, I keep a manifestation journal, and I literally just write things down that I want to manifest in my life. So again, just holding on to these tools and holding on to this attitude, even in the most difficult of times.
Oh my gosh. Hold on. Where's my book? Dang it. Well, there's two. I have to get this. I'm not editing this out anyways. Look, guys, when she was talking right here, Think and Grow Rich, one of the best selling books of all time, Napoleon Hill. You read this, what she just gave you a massive class, Think and Grow Rich. Have you ever read this one, Carol? Mindset. Oh my God. These two books is what she just taught you.
Oh, awesome.
That's probably too loud in the mic. Guys, I literally, as she was talking, coming out of my skin, because listen, she bought the licenses. Her husband had a good job, right? Pandemic hits, he loses his job like thousands and thousands of people across the United States. What are you going to do? All those years of practice and all those years of getting your mind right and the breathing techniques and the yoga, living off the mat. This mindset of you don't give up. This is the new me. And then bam, do you really want it? And that's what I love about this. When you change your life, it's great because you're getting in that point. But then there's a point, always a point when you're making that switch, that the universe hits you, or God hits you, or Allah, or whoever you want to pray to, or the universe or the yogaverse or whatever it is, hits you square in the face and says, do you really want this, or are you going to cower back to who you were? This path is hard. This path that is the less traveled, it's got weeds, it's got thorns, it's got rocks, it's cold, it's dark, it's dreary. Do you want to go that route, or do you want to go this other route where it's cushy, where nobody grows? There's no growth. There's no mindset. There's none of that. Jody basically told you we had two options, but because she believed in what yoga had did for her at her point, at her most pivotal point in her life, it allowed her to rewire and rechange that frontal cortex of her brain, the neuroscience behind it. She was able to rewire all of that because of yoga, of breathing, and this mindset shift. And she knew that if it could do this for her, and she could do it for one person, that it would change the trajectory of their life, their kids' life, their generation of life. My flipping, I almost cussed, but I won't cuss because I'd have to go back and edit it out. Dang, Jody, that was freaking awesome.
Oh, good.
Awesome. Okay, I have to ask this because I'm going to, during that time, Did you ever feel like quitting or just backing out of the business? I know you had touched on it a little bit, so I already know the answer, but did you? I mean, did you? And why didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I've never felt like quitting. I definitely felt overwhelmed at times. Overwhelmed, like how are we gonna fix this? Um, Quitting, no. I just felt like we are up for the challenge here. You know, I'm up for the challenge. I can't quit. This is not something, it's such a lifestyle for me. It would almost be like quitting on myself. You know, how can I quit on something that I believe so strongly in and I live in a manner I try to every day. So quitting, no. Being overwhelmed, having my moments where I'm freaking out for sure. And then, you know, acknowledging that and reeling it back in. And so much of it for me was really acknowledging like how much of what is I'm freaking out about is actually real, like how much has actually happened versus what I'm worrying is going to happen. And oftentimes anxiety really is just that, it's worrying about things that haven't happened yet. So trying to again stay present, like just for today, what can I do to help support the success of the studio? What can I do to help support my general manager? And thinking it more day to day, sometimes hour to hour, versus looking ahead and where am I going to be a year from now? Where is the studio going to be a year from now? I have no idea. You know, anything could happen tomorrow. We have no idea. So just trying to stay in the moment has been hugely helpful for me. I think if you go beyond today, it gets overwhelming, and you know, that's not a place I want to be. So, and I can't do anything about tomorrow today. So really using kind of that concept of being mindful and staying present has been huge.
Oh my gosh. Guys, this is, I mean, we are, sadly, we're coming to the end of this because we, you know, as you can tell, Jody's running a business, you know, she's got kids. So we definitely want to be respectful of that time, but we are so grateful that you were hopped on with us today and just impart, not just business knowledge, but a mom knowledge and mindset training. I mean, think about that, guys. She keeps a journal. She writes in almost like a gratitude journal, an inspiration journal, a journal of focus, a journal of count your blessings. Unbelievable, like literally unbelievable listening to this. So let me ask you, Jody, how the tools that you implement in your yoga studio. Tell us about your studio. You guys can move to St. Louis if you want, if you feel so inspired to go there because you just need to go to the studio, take a trip. I'm sure she would love to see you and bring you in that space. But what are one or two tools that you help your students with that might be different from what other people teach, or just something that you feel super passionate about?
Yeah, so I just want to clarify first. I live in St. Louis and I teach at the studios here. My studio that I own is actually in Overland Park, Kansas. So I travel back and forth there to help manage that studio, and that's so we have an amazing general manager in place there. But you know, some people might say it's a yoga. What's a one yoga studio versus another yoga studio? You're just on your mat, you're practicing yoga. For us, I think, from the very beginning, when we broke ground on this studio, the first thing I always said was that I just wanted it to be a place that was kind. Truly, that simple, just kind, that would welcome people in the door, make them feel at home, not make them feel self-conscious. They could show up as themselves right where they're at. I don't care if they've never done yoga before. I don't care if they're a yoga guru. Just show up as you are. And so I immediately started kind of instilling that in the people that we were hiring to work at the studio, and it has paid off. When I'm there and people will come up to me and introduce themselves, the first thing they say is, everyone is so nice here. And it just it makes me feel so good, because it makes me, first of all, think are people not nice everywhere? Why would, it's just so easy, just be kind to people who are taking the time to come in here. And then secondly, that has really created this community feel. And I think now more than ever, people are just craving that because we've been separated and isolated for so long. And the community that has been created there is so strong and so authentic. And that just goes to the people, it's all thanks to the people, and our instructors, I think are the best of the best. And they are the ones that really help create that environment and motivate and push all of our students. And we learn from them just as much as they learn from us. And so there really are no experts anywhere. We all remain in the role of students at all times. And that's kind of just created this overall kind, warm, welcoming space.
Oh man, look, I'm gonna tell you right now, Jody, I cannot wait for your book to come out next year. I know you're like, I'm not writing a book. No, bull crap. You are writing a book, and I cannot wait to read it or listen to it on Audible, because that story and your story, it is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Look, guys, she literally has told you from 12 years old to 30, she suffered with anxiety, depression, also mental illness. We had a conversation before, her father passed away, 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
She was able to kind of mend that with, and move past that. But she said earlier in the conversation that, as she was dating, she was fearful of leaving, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there is that sense when the daddy's little girl feel the dad leaves, and it's like, man, that's my hero. A father figure to a daughter is huge. Jody's basically told you, this is my life. This is how I overcame it. And now I am just passing all of this on to everybody and anybody who wants to come as they are, come into a place that's safe, come in a place that you're not judged, and come into a place that's not just stretching and laying on mats, but building your mind, building your self-esteem, building your self-worth, but more importantly, believing and loving yourself.
Yes, you bet.
Good freaking night, people. All right, we sat it this week. We got in. Please tell us, how do people get a hold of you? Where can we follow you? Your social media links. Tell us everything that we can, just so we can keep being inspired by you.
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram at Jody Cap 1201. So it's JODYCAP 1201. I'm also on Facebook, Jody Capdeboscq. My maiden name's there in the middle. Email Jody P. Kearney, KEARNEY @yahoo.com. I love to chat. I love meeting new people, having conversations about this topic. I could go on and on. So it'd be my pleasure to hear from anyone.
Awesome. We will look, we're going to have all the links, guys. You've probably seen them pop up during the course of this conversation. I love it. We got to get connected, get involved, get right. Before that, I have to ask this question because it's something I love asking. I really just started to ask this a couple of interviews ago. Let me ask this question. If you were to see your 5-year-old self today, what do you think she would say to you?
Gosh, I just am like thinking of this picture of myself from my first day of kindergarten, back to school time. I hope she would say, I'm proud of you. Everybody has their struggles in life. I don't think mine are any worse or better than anyone's else. They're just part of my story. And I think she would say, I'm proud of you, figuring out who I am and figuring out how to live a life that feels authentic to me and that feels good and positive. And I can honestly say I'm happy. So, what more could I ask for than that?
I love it. Thank you so much for that, Jody.
Yeah.
5 books. We need 5 books. Give us 5 books that you would recommend anybody to read. They can be a personal development book, a spiritual book, a business book, a yoga book, whatever. But just give us 5 books that you would recommend people to read.
Yeah, I'm a big reader. So one of my favorites that I use every day is called Meditations from the Mat by Rolf. He's a huge presence in the yoga world. And there's just a little reading every day. And it kind of talks about taking that yoga off the mat and how you can implement it into your daily life. It's great one. Making Life Easy, Christiane Northrup, incredible. I read it in one day. Great tips for literally making yourself easy, less chaotic, common sense stuff that you can implement into your day very easily. Dare to Lead is another one I just read by Brene Brown. If you're in any type of leadership role, whether it be with work or in your home or in your life, excellent book to read. And then I love books about kind of strength and resilience and incredible things that people have overcome. 2 books I recommend for that. One is called Escape from Camp 14. It's about a man who escaped a prison camp in North Korea. Unbelievable story. And the other one is They Poured Fire on Us from the Sky, about 3 boys who escaped the war in Sudan. So another excellent, just profound story, one that sticks with you. So, but I could list like 50 books. I love to read. So but those are some good ones.
Yes. That we will have those links. We'll have the books up, guys. This is one that will be. Do me a favor, guys. When you go listen to this, there are parts of the conversation that you need to go and watch it on YouTube, or you need to see the light and the glimmer that comes when Jody is talking about specific things that she's went through and overcome. Go back and watch her face when she talks about the struggles of a business, being a business owner. Look, when she said, then my husband lost her job, you need to see the energy transform, because she put herself back in that position. She remembered that, but then she instantly became lightful and was like, we can get through this. We can get through this. You need to see that transformation. It is fantastic, guys. This is a banger. This is one that will be played on yoga mats till the world to come. I'm telling you right now, 2023, Jody's book will come out. I am self-manifesting this because she said it. She loves to read. I love to read. I love to listen. Guys, this has been another fantastic episode of the Arch Study of You. We will catch you on the next episode. Have a great day.